Well, good day, folks. It's Tuesday. I hope you all had an awesome weekend. We're going to jump once again on that open tag by Tom over at Knife Delights, and we're going to do a 2 for Tuesday. If you haven't checked Tom out, definitely go check him out, especially if you like buck knives. If there's a buck knife Tom doesn't have, well, I don't know what it is. He's one of my go-tos whenever I need to know anything about a buck knife. He's also got his channel History Delights, which is fascinating as well. So go check that out. So what we're going to look at today is two Stockmans. And they're both knives you've seen before. But we're going to look at a case 75 pattern. And we're going to compare that to a Rough Ryder Classic Carbon 2. Now, this particular one was given to me by Jason down at Ozarks Boys. And this one was given to me by Mike at Make Cutlery Great Again. I should have their stickers out. Pardon me while I pause. And we're back. So as I said, the Rough Ryder Classic Carbon 2 came by way of Mike at Make Cutlery Great Again. And the case 75 came by way of Jason at Ozarks Boys. So thank you very much, gentlemen. So I received these both at the same time. And the first thing that struck me, because this is my first case 75, is how very, very similar they are in their design. I would be tempted to say that Rough Ryder modeled their knife after the case 75, but I don't know the full history. I know the 75 has been around for a very long time, and Rough Ryder as a company hasn't, so they may have molded it off of the 75, or perhaps it's just a standard pattern, historical pattern that they both used, but they are very, very similar knives in their design. So we look at first, they both come in at roughly 4 1/4 inches. And they have all the typical blades you'd expect with the Stockman. They're fairly close in thickness. Now, I would say the Rough Ryder is a bit thicker, but that is a characteristic of the Classic Carbon 2 series. All of their knives in that series tend to be thicker, and quite some time ago I did a comparison between the Rough Ryder standard canoes and the Classic Carbon 2 canoe to show the difference in how much, the thicker blades, the thicker springs. So the fact that the Rough Ryder appears to be thicker than the case may just be a factor of it being a Classic Carbon 2 knife. Now, the case has amber jig bone, and the Rough Ryder has micarta with G10 liners. That's the blue. Slight design differences. You can see the bolster design is different. Both have a pinched bolster. Rough Ryder has the angled bolsters, where the case has the more traditional straight bolsters. Your main blade for each. Oh, and I'll mention the Rough Ryder has half stops. The case does not have half stops. But the main blade for each is your clip point, and I don't know if you would call that a California clip point, or there's another term that's escaping me at the moment. It'll come here in a minute. But the clip is on both is roughly at the halfway point down the blade. The Rough Ryder has a swedge starting at the clip. The case has a milder swedge, but it starts behind where the clip starts. Both blades are roughly of the same thickness. The case has a thicker tang, or deeper tang, than the Rough Ryder does. So, but essentially, they're roughly the same thickness. So, essentially the same main blade. Getting a half stop with the Rough Ryder, know how to stop with the case. And then secondarily, they each come with a sheep's foot. Now, I watched a video by J.O. Adventures where he brought out 3 knives and showed one to be, I believe, a ram's foot, where it was thicker towards the end of the blade than the base, and then the sheep's foot had, I think, the same thickness, and then there was a third one that escapes me, but it was thicker towards the tang than it was towards the base. So I'm going to have to do some research on that. But in this case, essentially the same blade design. Longer nail nick on the Rough Rider and a bit of a swedge here. And really, I mean, you might say a modest bit of a swedge on the case, but I don't think so. Both blades come in at, well, with your Rough Rider, you have about 2 1/3. With your case, again, about 2 1/3. And the blades come off at roughly the same angle as well. It almost looks as though the Rough Rider blade might be somewhat deeper, but that too could just be wear on the case blade where it's an older knife. Love that snap. And that snap. And then your third blade for each is your spade blade. And some slight differences here beyond the size of the nail nick and the swedging. The Rough Rider has a more gradual and deeper belly, I would say. So you come out more and then gradually come around, where the case stays fairly consistent in the depth of the blade and then curls up at the tip. The Rough Rider is much more gradual. The blade tends to widen a bit to hit the peak of the belly and then gradually sweep up, where again the case maintains relatively the same thickness to the point that it sweeps up. So a little bit of a difference there. And as you can tell by the patina, these are both knives have carbon steel blades. The Rough Rider has carbon steel, whereas the case has their chrome vanadium. And if we look at them with blade open profile, scooch over there a little bit, Link. Again, basically the same thing. Just that slight difference in the design of the spade blade. And even the frame design is basically the same. So whether you call that, I've seen some people call it a dog leg, I've seen other people call it a serpentine. But you start off here, curve down, curve back up again, both cases, and narrowing to the heel, I guess, as far as from the head. It's a little wider here, and narrower here, narrower here. So, I don't know. Struck me how similar they are. Again, like I said, I don't know if Rough Rider modeled out off of the 75 or if this larger Stockman design is just a classic design that both companies have modeled after. Either way, both great knives. Fit very nice in the hand. There's no discomfort from the secondary blades. Same is true with the Rough Rider, which is good, because one of my complaints about Rough Riders is they do a very aggressive swedge. I mean, that material is very thin on the blade where the swedge is. And sometimes with certain knives, when you have one blade out and one or more blades not deployed, that swedge can be a little uncomfortable on the hand. I find it bites into the hand a bit. It's almost a little too sharp. But there we have them. So I don't know much to add beyond that. It just, like I said, it struck me how similar the blades were, or how similar the knives were overall. So ask me to pick a favorite. I can't do that. They're both awesome knives. I love the jig bone, cinnamon jig bone on the case. It just looks stellar to me. I mean, the fit and finish too with both is very good. Everything's nice and tight. If I had to give it to one, I'd probably give it to the case. Just there's some ever so slight gaps you can pick up on the Rough Rider, like down here. So the case seems to be tighter in that respect. One thing I noted with the Rough Rider, there is no blade rub anywhere. There's nowhere the blades are making contact. Blade alignment is good. And that may attribute to the slightly wider frame with the wider springs. With the case, you do see some contact being made here. And whereas you don't have that with the Rough Rider, if you can see there. Again, that may be attributable to the width of the Rough Rider, but also you'll notice the Rough Riders, they do scallop out their blades. I'm assuming to make them fit better. So that could be part of it as well. So I guess there's one other difference right there. The Rough Rider is scalloping out their blades, presumably so they will fit better into the frame with no blade rub. Anyway, I'm just starting to ramble at this point. So I hope you enjoyed that. Either case, no pun intended, both great knives. You're going to spend quite a bit more for the case than you will for the Rough Rider. So in these times, that's certainly a consideration. And I can't see where the Rough Rider isn't going to last as long as the case would. May come down to the metal, how often you have to sharpen it, and how well they take a sharpening, how much metal they lose during each sharpening, but they're both great knives, and I think you'll do well to have either one. Anyway, folks, we're going to call it there. I hope you're having a great day. It's cold and breezy, and fall is in the air here. It's damp. Kind of sucks, but sunnier days to come. Anyway, y'all take care. Have a great day. If you get a chance, go for a walk in the woods. Get a little mental reset. Enjoy some peace and quiet. Get lost with your thoughts. Maybe sort a few things out. And hey, take a knife with you. It might come in handy. Y'all take care.